If you ever wake up at 3 a.m. and feel like someone is sitting at the edge of your bed, do not open your eyes, because sometimes what we think is a nightmare is actually real. After hearing today's story, you might be afraid to even look toward the older parts of your house, especially the attic. This started when I was a kid. Every summer, my parents would send me to my grandparents' isolated farmhouse in Pennsylvania. The property was about 40 acres, mostly surrounded by dense woods. The house had 3 floors, but at the very top was an old attic that had been converted into a bedroom. That was my room. The ceiling was slanted, and there was a single window that looked directly out into the forest behind the house. My grandparents would go to sleep early, but I used to stay up late reading books under a flashlight. One night, I heard footsteps on the attic stairs, very slow, like someone was trying not to be heard. I saw my bedroom doorknob slowly turn, and the door opened about 6 inches. Terrified, I switched off my light and pretended to be asleep. The next morning, my grandfather said the house was old. Maybe a raccoon had gotten into the walls, but I knew something for sure. Raccoons don't turn doorknobs. A few days later, I woke up suddenly because my entire bed was shaking. In the darkness, I saw something standing near my bed. I shut my eyes in fear and started counting to 100. When I opened them again, it was gone. But the next morning, my closet door was wide open, and I knew for a fact I had shut it before going to sleep. My mom said it was just my active imagination. My cousin Francisco had never complained about anything like that. Years passed. During college, my grandparents died, and at the funeral, I met Francisco again. We started talking about the farmhouse, and I told him about the footsteps. I expected him to laugh, but his face went completely pale. He said, "That's nothing. It used to touch me." Francisco told me that every couple of nights, that same figure would stand beside his bed. He could feel the mattress sink, like someone had sat down. Then he would feel fingers on his face, slowly tracing his features. Sometimes, that thing would grab his wrist and just stay there. I asked him how he knew it wasn't our grandparents. His voice shook as he said, because its hands were rough and scratchy. My grandparents' hands were never like that. We just stood there, stunned. His mother had never believed him, so he eventually stopped talking about it. But now only one question kept running through my mind. If it wasn't a ghost, and was it a person? Was someone living in that house for years without my grandparents knowing? Someone who would quietly come down from the attic at night and enter the children's room? Today I'm 34 years old, but I never live in a house where the windows face another building or the woods. Francisco called it a thing, and I don't know what's more terrifying, a ghost or a human being who spent years in the dark, touching your face. Even now, the thought of those scratchy hands keeps me awake at night. Are you absolutely sure, Chicas, that you're afraid that your attic or storage room only holds old things? Because the next time you feel like someone is standing beside your bed, it might not just be your imagination.